Have you ever noticed how just changing a few words can completely flip how you feel about something? Well, today we're diving into one of the most powerful and kind of invisible forces that shapes your decisions every single day. It's a cognitive bias called framing. Okay, take a look at these two statements. They describe the exact same outcome from the 2006 World Cup final. Logically, they are 100% identical, but pay attention to your gut reaction. Italy won probably makes you think of celebration, right? Whereas France lost, that just brings up feelings of defeat and failure. The fact that they absolutely do not feel the same is the whole point. That tiny split-second difference in your reaction, that's the framing effect in action. It's this powerful quirk in our minds where the way information is presented can actually matter more than the information itself. So what's actually going on inside our heads when this happens? To really get it, we need to peek under the hood and see how our brain processes these different frames. It's this fascinating tug-of-war between our fast emotional brain and our slow logical one. So what the framing effect really means is that our choices aren't always based on, pure reality. Instead, our brain just latches onto the description, the emotional language, the packaging, and a lot of the time, logic gets left in the dust. Neuroscientists did this really clever experiment to test this out. They gave people 50 pounds. Then they offered them a choice, but framed it in two totally different ways. For one group, the option was to keep 20 pounds. For the other, it was to lose 30 pounds. Now, think about it. Both options leave you with the exact same amount of money, right? 20 pounds. The only difference is the language. And here's where it gets wild. The brain scans from the experiment showed something incredible. When people chose the positive frame, the keep option, their amygdala, that's the emotional hub of the brain, it lit right up. But when people tried to resist that frame and chose the lose option, their brains actually showed signs of conflict. It turns out fighting a frame is literal mental work. And the most rational people in the study, they showed way more activity in their frontal, logical brain areas, proving they were successfully overriding that emotional pull. Now, this isn't just about a few bucks in a lab. The framing effect pops up in situations with the highest stakes imaginable. We're talking about decisions that can literally mean life or death. So in this famous study, one group of doctors was given information about two treatments for lung cancer. For the surgery option, the outcome was framed like this, focusing on survival, a nice positive spin. A second group of doctors got the exact same data, but it was framed negatively. Survival feels good, it feels safe. But mortality? That feels scary. It feels risky, even though the numbers describe the exact same reality. The result? It was absolutely staggering. When the surgery was framed by its survival rate, 84% of doctors chose it. But when it was framed by its mortality rate, only 50% recommended it. I mean, that is a huge difference in medical advice from trained experts, all because of one single word. This same effect was shown so clearly in the famous Asian disease problem. So imagine an outbreak is expected to kill 600 people. In the first frame, your options are presented in terms of lives saved. Program A is the sure thing. B is a gamble. In the second frame, the exact same outcomes are presented, but in terms of lives lost. And the results were a complete flip-flop. When the frame was positive, saving lives, 72% of people played it safe. They took the sure thing. But when the frame was negative, people dying, a whopping 78% suddenly became risk takers and rolled the dice. Same problem, totally opposite choices. It's wild. And the power of framing goes even deeper than just risk. It can actually get in there and mess with our sense of right and wrong, twisting our moral compass without us even realizing it's happening. So the economist Thomas Schelling asked his students this question. A child exemption is basically a tax break. And almost everyone said, no, of course not. The idea of giving a bigger tax break to a rich person just felt fundamentally unfair. But then, he reframed the exact same problem. He asked if the childless poor should have to pay as large a surcharge, an extra tax, as the childless rich. And again, nearly everyone said no. That also felt totally unfair. Why penalize the poor as much as the rich? Now, here's the brilliant twist. Those two positions are completely contradictory. Wanting the poor to get a bigger tax break is mathematically the same thing as wanting them to pay a smaller penalty. It proves our moral gut feelings weren't really about the policy itself. They were about the emotional words break versus penalty. Okay, so if framing is this powerful and we really can't escape it, then the big question becomes, can we at least choose better frames? Frames that might lead us toward more rational, more beneficial decisions? Well, the answer seems to be yes. Let's take a look at a real-world example of this, the MPG illusion. We all think about fuel efficiency in miles per gallon, but that frame itself is actually super misleading and it causes us to make some pretty bad choices. The math here is gonna feel wrong, but trust me. Adam makes what seems like a tiny upgrade, just 2 mpg. Beth makes what looks like a huge one, a 10 mpg jump. But over 10,000 miles, Adam actually saves way more fuel. The whole mpg frame just completely fools our intuition. If we switch to thinking in gallons per mile, it would be a much, much better guide for our choices. And maybe the most dramatic example of all is organ donation. Just look at these numbers. You have neighboring countries, really similar cultures, with these wildly different donation rates. Germany is at 12%, but Austria is basically at 100%. Denmark is at 4%, while Sweden is at 86%. What on earth could explain that? The answer is so simple, it's almost unbelievable. It's the frame of the default choice. In opt-in countries like Germany, you have to actively check a box to become a donor. In opt-out countries like Austria, you're a donor automatically unless you check a box to say no. That one tiny change in the frame plays on our brain's laziness, our preference for the path of least resistance, and it changes everything. And that brings us to this powerful quote from Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman. The point is, we don't really have these pure, stable preferences deep down. What we have are preferences for problems as they're presented to us. Our gut feelings are often just a reaction to the story we're being told, not the substance behind it. Think about it. Advertisers, politicians, the news, even your own inner voice. Your reality is being framed for you, constantly. So the most important step towards thinking more clearly isn't trying to find the right frame. It's just learning to see the frame in the first place.